Gary, is Labour now a definitively pro-Remain party?
It's not as simple as that. That is what many people in the grassroots of the party wanted it to be as of this moment. But it has taken, I think, what you have to accept is a pretty big step in that direction. Such a step that Jeremy Corbyn felt he could email party members who he knows are breathing down his neck on this and would like the party to become more pro-Remain. Most of them, that is, a sizable chunk. But as you say, what has actually happened is that Labour has decided that whoever the next Tory Prime Minister is, if they cook up a deal, it should go to a referendum and Labour would support Remain. If they don't cook up a deal and we come out or threaten to come out with no deal, that should go to a referendum and Labour would support Remain. As you said, the giant question mark still, what would Labour's policy be in the general election, which it says it wants very soon? So Labour figures say, well, we can't have a policy yet because we haven't been through all the processes that Labour has in its democratic infrastructure. You can't just whistle that up, but that is enormously frustrating still to some people, and they wonder if it looks like Labour is being dragged so slowly towards this position that they want them to end up in, what credibility will it have if one day it does eventually proclaim itself as a 100% Remain party? Here, anyway, is how Jeremy Corbyn put it in an interview today.
Labour is a party which says we will take no deal off the table and the people will have a choice in the future as to whether they remain in the European Union or they accept what would be very, very damaging no deal exit from the EU with the consequences for food prices, for medicine supplies and industrial investment. I've just spent some time consulting with all the parts of the Labour Party and the Labour movement, and we've come to this position. We have a democratic process. We'll decide our election position when the election comes.
Question over the issue of its Brexit position not entirely resolved, and certainly the row over anti-Semitism in the party is far from sorted either, is it?
It feels like it's hotting up again this week. We had three resignations from the party whip of Labour peers today. Three peers decided that they could no longer stay there. Lord Turnberg, Lord Treesman, a former party general secretary he is, and Lord Darcy, a former health minister in Gordon Brown's administration. They all said that they couldn't tolerate how Labour was dealing with anti-Semitism. Lord Treesman wrote a particularly tart letter about that. Another former General Secretary of the party, though, is one of the people who looks like they've been giving testimony to the Panorama investigation, which is coming out tomorrow night. And that is looking into what Labour did over anti-Semitism. One shadow cabinet source said to me a moment ago, the leader's office has its crash helmet on, waiting for that.
Gary, thank you very much. Well, we're joined now from North London by Lord Turnberg, one of the three Labour peers who resigned the whip today. Lord Turnberg, why now?
Well, we've been waiting a long time. This hasn't just happened overnight. I've been waiting, hoping that the Labour Party would come to its senses, that we would have some reasonable outcomes. But it's clear that as time has gone on, things just seem to get worse. Every day we have a new announcement of something terrible in the party. So we had to do it sometime. We wanted to do it before the Panorama programme tomorrow night. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't simply a response to that programme. It's been something that's been developing for some time.
I mean, Lord Treesman, in his letter today, has said the Labour Party is no longer a safe environment for Jewish people. It is plainly institutionally anti-Semitic. Now, he directly lays the blame at the door of Mr Corbyn, saying he and his circle are anti-Semitic. Are you saying the same?
I think the leader of the party and the party machine behind him do have a problem with anti-Semitism. They do not seem to be able to eradicate it properly. They talk about getting rid of racism, but they don't talk about anti-Semitism particularly. And when events occur, as they do, they seem to be very slow in dealing with them.
And yet, the Labour Party has consistently said, sorry to cut across you, but the party has consistently said it has been taking decisive action against anti-Semitism, and it completely rejects what it calls these false and offensive claims.
It would say that, wouldn't it? I think the problem is that it doesn't appear to Jewish people and to a lot of people in the House of Lords. Incidentally, it's very sad for me to be leaving the community in the House of Lords, which by and large are very helpful and supportive. It's the party leadership where the problems lie, and they may say that they don't accept any accusations of anti-Semitism, but they do seem to do so little to try and combat it.
They do say that, and they say it absolutely. They say they're taking decisive action, doubling the number of staff dedicated to dealing with complaints and cases, and that it says that our records show anti-Semitism cases which have gone through disciplinary procedures amount for 0.06% of the party's membership.
That's part of the problem. I think the numbers of those who make anti-Semitic remarks on the internet in various forms maybe not be very large, but they're certainly numerous enough to be noticed. And not only that, when they occur, very few of them seem to come to any sort of resolution.
But I just wonder whether you think this is about a leadership that is either disconnected from the facts, as you and the other Lords see it, or in denial.
I think they're in denial. I think the fact that we now have an official inquiry into anti-Semitism within the Labour Party speaks volumes.